Hello super friends and welcome to DCTV Talk. This is the show where we talk all things Supergirl, The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, Arrow and Black Lightning. And in today's video we'll be doing the second annual ranking of the Arrowverse seasons. So let's get straight into it. So yes, it has finally come to the end. We have now reached the final point of the current seasons of the Arrowverse shows. I know Supergirl finished a couple of weeks ago, but obviously I'm only getting around to doing this video now. But in this video, I'm going to be ranking all of the previous seasons of DCTV. So that's going to be Supergirl Season 3, The Flash Season 4, Legends of Tomorrow Season 3, Arrow Season 6, and yeah, that's it. I'm not really going to include Black Lightning just because this is going to be exclusively Arrowverse. But if you do want to know, if I was to include Black Lightning, I'd put it at the top of the list because I think it's fantastic. But Black Lightning aside, this is going to be a ranking of those 4 shows, the Arrowverse shows. And I did this video last year and it went down like a treat. You guys seem to really enjoy that video. It's one of my most popular videos, so hopefully you guys will enjoy this one too. And with all that out the way and with all that said, let's get straight into it. Also, if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to head to my podcast, which is called Honor Thy Podcast. It is a weekly DCTV Arrowverse podcast I do with my good friend Dan McCann's Music Media. The link is in the description box down below, so if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more content like this, be sure to follow that link below. So coming in at number 4 is going to be Supergirl Season 3. Was this really any surprise? I mean, Supergirl was a real letdown this season, especially because it's more frustrating above all else, with the first 9 episodes being particularly strong, and then having a major drop-off point. This season never regained the grandeur that it had at the start of the season. Thanks to that massive break and huge hiatus this show took during its mid-season point, this show really lost a lot of its fan base and also a lot of its enthusiasm, and that was a real big damage hitter to the show. Also, the firing of Andrew Kreisberg midway through the season created a massive rift of just problems that plagued the entire season, and you can see it all the way through. It's very, very obvious. And also the fact that this show just became very boring and uninteresting as you headed into the back half, with the Legion being completely shoved aside and Mon-El being brought to the forefront. Mix that in with other storylines being shoved aside, such as Marin and Jean's storyline, which doesn't really come into fruition till the very end, and having a big focus on Alex and Ruby was definitely a mistake. But overall, I think the season had a lot of strong points. It definitely had a good amount of elements to it, and like I said, the first 9 episodes were particularly strong, but in comparison to the other seasons, this really didn't hold up. In at number 3, we have The Flash Season 4. Now, The Flash has a bit of a mixed bag this season. I think in some elements this season was excellent, and in others this was the worst season of The Flash. Categorically speaking, I will say that this is the weakest season of The Flash. If I had to pick one, I would go for Season 4. However, I feel like this season does have a bit more going for it than Supergirl did. On the one hand, I think the villain, although I've expressed a lot of issues with the villain, I think that the Thinker was definitely a great idea, and when he was good, he was incredible. And then in terms of other stuff going on, I think the introduction of Ralph Dibny, aka the Elongated Man, was a real treat for the season. I really enjoyed the way I managed to introduce other characters into the season too, and the way they were able to develop the current characters were pretty great. However, characters like Barry really had no arc, neither did Cisco. They tried to give Caitlin and then they drop it halfway through. And other characters like Iris, who was a very problematic character within the season, who I didn't have as big of a problem with as most people did, but I can definitely see the problems, and she was definitely a problematic character for the wider audience and for the wider reach of the show. I think The Flash Season 4 really dropped the ball with a lot of things. While keeping the Mystery Girl in the kind of background for the entire season was definitely a smart move, I think the payoff was actually very strong. But getting there, and that being the only real interest in the season, really damaged the show, given the fact that the show didn't really have anything else interesting going on in the season other than the Mystery Girl, and that didn't get revealed until the very, very end of the season. And I feel like this maybe lost a lot of interest with the season, and the biggest problem with Season 4 of The Flash has to go to the way Clifford DeVoe was body hopping between all these bus metahumans that he created in order to just keep the story going along. It felt very meandering, it felt very boring, very repetitive, and until we got Neil Sandilands back, that was when the show was in its complete downpour. And I feel like The Flash Season 4 really suffered because of that. In at number 2 is going to be Arrow Season 6. Arrow Season 6 was a decent season of Arrow, not too shabby at all, but it does have some elements that top it, just holding it back from joining that top spot. I feel like Arrow Season 6 had a very weak start, with those first 9 episodes not being particularly strong, besides the Deathstroke two-parter. those episodes, they weren't particularly memorable and weren't particularly exciting at any point, and this even goes for the mid-season of the actual part of the season. Those mid-episodes, again, not really that intriguing. However, as soon as the season hit episode 18, Season 6 just skyrocketed, and those last 5 to 6 episodes were phenomenal. Absolutely incredible episodes. Like I say, I think episode 18 is one of the best of the season, and my personal favourite being episode 21, which I thought was one of the best episodes of Arrow. And I feel like that finale really had a lot of gut-punching moments, a lot of really emotional moments, like Quentin's death, which really just had me physically crying my eyes out. And I think that this season had other great elements to it as well. Once we got past Caden James and that entire debacle, we got the wonderful Ricardo Diaz, who was a great villain, and I can't wait to see him next season. But this season did suffer with a lot of baggage. For example, having to carry on the Caden James storyline, which nobody asked for, really put a burner on that first half of the season. Also, the payoff for the Lian Yu explosion at the end of Season 5 really did not follow through at all, as the result of that was extremely underwhelming and massively disappointing. And in terms of the character of the Vigilante, who I was so excited to find out who it was, the actual reveal just felt like the writers had no idea who this character was until they were forced to reveal it, and it really felt like that, as it really felt like a last-minute decision, and one that had no payoff whatsoever. And in terms of the new Team Arrow, original Team Arrow split, that was easily the weakest part of the season, as it was just obnoxious to see these characters who had been through their arc in Season 5 get completely kicked back to square one. And without that storyline going on, and without Team Arrow being full, this season felt a little bit misjointed. But overall, I did enjoy Season 6 for the most part. It just felt like it was lacking a few elements, and that really boring and really quite bad first half really does drag it down. However, that second half really does redeem it in quite a lot of ways. However, in at number 1 was no competition. Legends of Tomorrow Season 3 easily wins the top spot this year. I gave this top spot to Legends last year too with Season 2, however my mind has changed on that, and I would actually give the top spot to Arrow Season 5 last year. However, this year it is no doubt Legends of Tomorrow Season 3 was the best Arrowverse show this season, hands down. Not only was there only one episode of the season which I didn't really like, which was episode 2, besides episode 2, I think this season was absolutely stellar. Every single episode was entertaining, every single episode was hilarious, every single episode was adventurous, and you really felt like you were having a great time watching each and every episode every single week. Every time the season started and every time the week started with an episode of Legends, I was so hyped. Legends was the one I always wanted to, it was always the one I was looking forward to the most each week. And I just love being on the wave rider with these characters. And those particular characters got even more development this season, and I feel the villains were actually really good. I mean, they did a great job with the Legion of Doom, and while I don't feel like these villains precede the Legion of Doom, I do really enjoy what they did anyway with Malice, and particularly with Damien Dark, who was a particular standout for me in the season. Also with introductions of characters like Zari, who was great, and finally bringing Wally West onto the team was such an awesome decision. And all of these elements coming together prove why Legends of Tomorrow Season 3 is easily, hands down, no questions asked, no doubt whatsoever, the best season this season for the DCTV Arrowverse shows. But what do you guys think about this ranking? Tell me your ranking in the comment section down below. Do you agree with my list? Do you completely disagree with my list? Be sure to argue with me however much you want and put your own list in the comment section down below. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was obviously fun to do this ranking. I did it last year and I really enjoyed that video, and you guys seem to really enjoy it too, so I wanted to make sure I did it again. But let me know all of your lists in the comment section down below. Go for it. So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a like. It will help me out a lot, and share this video with anyone and everyone you know who loves DCTV and get them to join the community. And as always guys, please subscribe for your latest content on Supergirl, The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, Arrow and Black Lightning. And with all that said guys, hope to see you again in my next video.